I realize that we're under construction and everything, but I really think that a world-class research institute deserves a world-class entrance. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Welcome to the old level. Nice. This is our central hub, from which researchers will access all 5 labs once it's finished.
To make sure she doesn't slip out of the dive, right? So that's really important. You see her dry the legs off there. That's why they have that chamois. They're in high winds here. Who knows where the chamois will land, whether it hit the judges or the spectator down below. It's a pretty common occurrence. Anyway, let's get down to business. Front 3 somersaults, 1 up twist with a running takeoff. Here we go. Just taking a little beat to reset.
About you. But he also knew you were a dirty soldier, skimmed money off the top. It's okay, man. You were smart about it. Never took enough for Pop to mind. See, he knew.
Hey, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete. I'm here in the Phoenix area in Arizona, and I used to live on this street when I was in my early and mid-20s. And every time I would drive down this street here in Phoenix, I would marvel at this one property that had a block wall on the busy street, and their block wall is full of planter boxes. All of these plants I'm touching right now are growing in these planter boxes that are right against the block wall. So as we go back further and further, we'll see a wide variety of plants and flowers that are all growing on a wall. I gotta meet the person, or the people, who are building these planter boxes. So let's go meet them today, and we'll see what the deal is with these awesome raised bed planters. Hey, I'm Jake.
Nice to meet you, Jake.
Who are you?
Thanks for being here. I'm Alex with Flower Street Urban Gardens.
You get this all the time. People see your raised beds on the wall, and they're like, what the heck are those?
Yeah, our vertical gardens really draw a lot of attention. You know, we try to keep them up really nice, and it's a unique design, and literally we get people stopping here every day inquiring about our gardens.
And so what do you call them? You call them a vertical garden?
The vertical gardens are living walls.
That's so cool, a living wall. I mean, you just basically made spaces that normally aren't gardenable.
To make something that is not really appealing to the eye, to dress it up, to give it that beauty, and also in that way it made it really accessible. They're handicap accessible, they're good for elderly, you don't have to bend over. Sure. They're good for children, pets don't get in them. So there's a ton of different reasons why people purchase and love our gardens.
Alright, so Alex, behind me is your house.
This is our house.
And you've got a garden growing up the wall of your house. I love this. Tell me about it.
Well, this is really the garden that started Flower Street Urban Gardens. About 4 years ago, my father moved in with us, and I wanted him to be able to garden and have an activity, but he couldn't bend over. To work in the raised beds or anything like that was going to be out of the question. And my background's in design, and I started looking. I thought this would be a perfect wall to do a vertical garden, a living wall. I started looking online, and what I found was either really expensive, they were super complicated, they weren't deep enough to grow edibles in, or some of them were just ugly. And I figured I could do this.
You're a DIY kind of guy.
I am. It took me about 3 days to start from an idea, a concept, to be growing food in it. This is a 5-tiered unit.
Yeah, show me this thing.
This is, there's actually 4 units put together here. There's 3 facing the south, and then we have a special bracket for the outside corner, and then we have a 4th unit here. This is 120 square feet of growing space.
Wow, that's
which
amazing.
Is crazy.
Just on the wall.
Just on the wall.
And it looks like on the main street, where everybody, all the pedestrians are, you've got mostly non-edible stuff growing there.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Most of that out there we're going to be harvesting. Those are sweet potatoes.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
They look great.
Those are sweet potatoes, so we will get in.
And that's great because folks don't know that the greens are edible or the potatoes that you can grow without people picking it and taking it away.
But you know, to me, we're going to be putting lettuce, kale, a lot of greens out there, nasturtium for here in the next week or so when it just drops down a little bit more. And, you know, I want people to pick that. If someone needs the food or they want to take that food, it's all there. The interesting thing that's happened out there, before we had those gardens, like monthly that wall was tagged. We'd have to call
graffiti.
Yeah, we'd have to call the graffiti hotline. They come out and paint it. Knock on wood, that hasn't been tagged once in the 4 years that those have been out there.
That's amazing.
And I really think,
see, that's why people like you, engineers and do-it-yourselfers, need to be in charge of the world, because you guys think of solutions to problems.
I truly believe that the community sort of owns those gardens out there. We hear about them all the time. People look at them. They drive by to see the changes in the gardens. And so I feel there's always a set of eyes out there overlooking and saying, hey, what's going on with those gardens?
You know, so on the street you've got sweet potatoes and other items. On the top here you've got aloe vera and succulents.
We got some succulents or some peppers that we planted that will spill over.
Is this Mexican oregano?
This is lemon viburnum.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it smells really good.
It smells great, and we use that for teas. We've got rosemary. There's this plant here. You plant it once in your garden, and that's like the end of planting it. It's called epizote. It's
a lot of people from Mexico use this in their beans and food and stuff.
Exactly.
Help the stomach.
It does help the stomach. It has a weird sort of, to me, it has like a petroleum taste to it when you taste the actual herbs or the leaves, the seeds, but it doesn't have that kind of taste at all.
And when you
Do you
cook
ever
it,
siphon gas out of a neighbor's car when
I'm
you're
getting a
done?
little bit of that, yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
But when you cook it, does that go away?
That goes away, and you don't taste that at all. So sometimes you taste plants, and then when you cook with them, they really change. One of the things that we've learned from a lot of the chefs that we work with their gardens is, you know, there's all these different mints that are on the market, chocolate mint, pineapple mint, all these different kinds.
Sure, apple mint.
They never want those.
They want the menta.
It's called the best mint.
Menta the best, yeah.
And that one, because it's predictable in the flavor when it's heated, when it's dried, when it's muddled. It's very predictable. These other ones just aren't, and they can have some weird off taste to them.
You know, I haven't thought about that, because I love the chocolate mint, but I would imagine for a professional chef, they want that predictability of the mint flavor.
Exactly.
So the best mint, it's actually called the best mint, is one that you guys grow for all your chefs and restaurants.
That's what they require.
So every restaurant in town could conceivably turn their building into a food source if they grow with your planters like this.
Yeah, and what we really concentrate on with the restaurants is more of the microgreens and the herbs.
Okay.
Because that's something that they can really come out and get some fresh herbs, put that onto the plate to finish off the dish. Some of the plants, they just don't produce quite quickly enough for a restaurant. And there's no doubt that this isn't going to be able to supply their needs.
But it can enhance their needs. It can enhance them and offset it, right. Tell me why it works. Tell me how it works.
Okay, the whole concept is with the gardens is, if you look right in here, we manufacture these food grade liners that are in each one. And I'll show you a little bit better on another unit too.
So this is BPA free.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And the only thing that would really break that down is exposure to sun. But it's not exposed to sun because of the wood and the soil.
Yeah, totally.
Also, back here, the liners, they have small perforations for drainage. This corrugated material that's attached to the backboard here, it will catch the water and it will ensure that the water doesn't get on the structure that the garden's placed on. And it will repurpose and recycle that water.
So your wall here is not going to rot because that takes the water and literally makes it trickle down.
It does. It's that whole trickle down effect. And then on the very bottom, it has stainless steel wire that just keeps it elevated so it won't drip onto the foundation, so you don't get stainage with it.
So do you guys just water the top one and let it all kind of trickle down to the successive beds?
Well, it really wouldn't be the most efficient way to water. These are all hooked up to irrigation. And
through your 1/4-inch line, just like your raised beds.
The same in the raised beds, but the only difference is because this top level doesn't get drainage, there's an entire loop of that irrigation on those. On these bottom layers, or bottom tiers, it's just one. And we want to place that just front of center because you're going to get the drainage water back there, and that's how the system balances.
And these boards are not screwed together or glued, they're just using pressure, and they're slid in there, so you could actually slide a board out or in if it breaks.
Exactly. So they're meant to be a long-term, serviceable, easy garden. A block from us was a mental health and drug rehabilitation center for low-income people. So we've seen people in the worst conditions coming up and down that street when we're out there working on it. And it gives us a lot of pleasure because they'll thank us. They say, you know, when I come to my treatment, I look forward to walking past your garden.
Just your one residence is like worth their whole trip of walking down the street.
It helps them get to the treatment that they need.
So this living wall or vertical garden has some shade thanks to your pecan tree, which is massive.
Yeah.
And you put strawberries, and you're just planting your strawberries out for the fall season.
Yeah. And the whole idea behind the gardens and the shape of the gardens, the higher the sun is in the sky, the more the lower layers are protected.
Okay.
And as the sun drops into the southern skies, it opens up more sun in there.
Right.
Plus, this tree is going to lose all of its leaves here in about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on the weather. And then during the coldest part of the winter, it's going to get all that great sun.
That's amazing.
And because it's on the house, it's going to get some warmth from the house. But the other thing that's really cool that I'll post some photos is when we do put frost cloth up, we clip them to fascia, and it's like a giant curtain that hangs over the
top.
Wow,
so you have no damage in the winter. And you're sort of like watching how this works together here. Look at that. Just hold right up.
So these end caps are literally just wedged in there. And when we first put the garden together, there's a little gap between the radius of this curve and the top board.
Okay.
Now what we want to do is there's a right and left side to the end cap. You just line up your end cap and you pull this up and it's held in with friction and tension.
Because now that's in there, man. Oh my god, that's in there pretty good.
It's in there really good. It's not going to fall off, and you could put a pin nail or screw it or something, but to me it's easier just letting it be this way because in a few years if you want to change out your soil, you literally pop off the end cap, take out the plants, and you can slide the whole liner out, soil and all.
Okay.
Or if you needed to replace a board, you can slide the boards in and out of the garden as well to replace a board if you ever needed to.
And you guys are patent pending on all this stuff because it's such a cool design.
We are patent pending onto it, and hopefully that will be finalized here in the next few months.
That's
It's
great.
been a long process.
Yeah, sure. But it's a great idea. It's very sexy, it's very clean, very well thought out. And it's still traditional. You still have traditional soil in there, and you're growing the way Mother Earth intended. So
Exactly, and it just makes gardening easy.
now, Alex, this wall is beautiful looking. It's rustic, it's artistic, and it's all repurposed. Tell me about this. How did you build this thing?
Well, actually I didn't. It was a gift.
Oh.
The story was with this is last January we got a call from a production company out of Atlanta that was doing a big event here at one of our resorts for a customer.
In the Phoenix area?
In Scottsdale. They built these walls in Atlanta, so all this wood is wood that you wouldn't necessarily see here in the West. It's all East Coast kind of species. They contracted us to build vertical succulent gardens that were attached to these walls.
Oh.
They had to be there for 3 days, and after the 3 days, the guy was like,
I don't know what to do.
you want these? If not, I'm throwing them in the dumpster. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. But I ended up putting up this first wall here as a screen wall from all my junk and my work here.
Yeah, because now it's like a partition that helps people that come in your yard don't see your little like man cave back there.
It's really not about the people that comes in my yard. It's really about my wife.
Oh, okay. So your wife appreciates
Yeah.
the flow and the aesthetic block.
If I don't have to see that, I'd really appreciate it. So I put these up, and it was really all repurposed.
All these posts back here.
Those are actually
like utility posts or something.
That's exactly what they are. They're the cross beams that holds up the electrical lines.
Wow.
I had a bunch of those for Ian when he was a little tree fort that I had made, and we had them piled here for years. And he obviously hadn't been using his clay fort for a while.
Yeah.
So we had those, and I actually needed 3 more. And sometimes when you put that out into the universe comes back and conspires to help you.
Yeah.
And after I decided what we're actually doing, and it's being converted into a new permanent chicken coop.
Oh, this is going to be.
So this is going to be the chicken coop. We've got the roof structure over. The nesting boxes are going to be here.
That's going to be great.
The feed area is going to be over there. But the funny thing was I needed 3 more of these posts. And 2 days after I decided I was going to do this, SRP knocked on my door.
SRP is the power company.
The local power company, and they said, you know what? We need to have access to your front yard. We're going to replace the telephone pole. And I says, hey.
And you're like, yes.
One down, 2 to go. And they says, so are you replacing any more in the area? Yeah, the one across the street. And that one has 2, and I needed 3. So
wow. And they gave them to you.
They just gave them to me. They don't want to haul them off.
Yeah, sure.
So they gave them to me, and it has a unique look. Now everything's matched. It's going to be an awesome chicken coop. We want to expand that because we have friends and family that wants eggs, and so we'll be able to produce a little bit more and have more product to fertilize our gardens and stuff with this one.
Maybe you can even put some of your vertical gardens on the outside.
That's a thought too.
Hey Alex, I want to thank you for all your wisdom, experience, knowledge, and your ingenuity. This is so cool, and this one's full of succulents. Every one of them is unique and beautiful in their own right. So,
and this is sort of our take on a window box, and still some of the edible theme here with
the elephants.
One of my favorite things to add to a salad.
It kind of has like almost like a Jolly Rancher kind of.
To me, it tastes like a mild sour apple with a little salt on it.
Totally.
Elephant food is a member of the pristine family.
I did not know that. I knew they were both edible. I grew both. I didn't know they were related.
Yeah, they are related.
Wow, that's amazing. Because they do look very similar.
Thanks again for coming over here to Flower Street Urban Gardens.
And for all the people watching out there, how can somebody find more about you? Your website? What is your website?
flowerstreeturbangardens.com. There's a lot of videos on there. Some of the different projects that we've done. If you've purchased a garden, you want to know how to install it, we've got installation videos because we ship all over the country.
That's super helpful.
So that's really helpful. And then also you can follow us on Facebook at Flower Street Urban Gardens.
I'll put it on the description below and on the screen right now. But you also have a YouTube channel with a few videos folks can get some ideas from and see more about you in video form.
Exactly.
On your YouTube channel, which is right here.
We have that direct link on our website too, so you can just click on that. It'll take you right to our videos.
To all your social media.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I enjoyed it. It's so aesthetically pleasing. It's amazing. I got to come back and see how things grow throughout the season. And now when I pass by on 44th Street, I'll know what's going on back here.
You can honk, because we're out here.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see your vertical gardens at different installations, schools, restaurants, businesses, and homes all around town. So
yeah, one of the ones I'm most proud of is we did a really cool installation at the Arizona Veterans Hospital.
Oh, you did?
And they use it for garden therapy because it's something that you can get your hands on, and we all, just as humans, there's such a connection with the plant world. And then you can throw food in there that you grow, there's even more of a connection.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And for those people who are watching right now, we've got another tip we're going to show everybody of how to plant seeds very effectively, but it's in a different video, which is right down here at the bottom right now. So if you click on the video down there, it'll take you to this amazing little tip that Al's going to give us of how he plants seeds in his raised bed garden so they're for sure to germinate. And I think it's a great tip.
Super fun and easy.
Check it out. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Spend $50 or more on Blue Foods and Treats and save $15 on your next Blue purchase.
Was a method of gardening which promised 100% of the harvest using just 20% of the space and only 2% of the work, most gardeners would be very interested. In fact, there is a method which claims to do just that. Square foot gardening is a simple way to create easy to manage raised beds that need a minimum of time spent maintaining them. So, how does it work, and what do you need to know before planting a square foot garden?
Square foot gardening was developed by retired engineer Mel Bartholomew in the 1970s. He used his analytical skills as an engineer.
So that's a guy here. So that video what I got in here.
And she's a Cornell educator.
Let's make some lemongrass juice. So we have pineapple, lemongrass, turmeric, and ginger. Now I love incorporating lemongrass into some of my recipes because it helps to...
I don't want no more pineapple juices, man. It's too
One of the most effective liver strengthening treatments is drink fresh squeezed beet juice for 21 days. Start with 2 ounces a day for 7 days, then 3 ounces a day for 7 days, then 4 ounces a day for 7 days. By the way, your urine and your stool will turn red. You'll think you're bleeding. You're not bleeding. It's the beet juice.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Minus the Gym. I'm Ryan, and in this video, I'm going to show you 3 juice recipes that literally changed my life. And I know that sounds like I'm exaggerating or overstating it, but I swear, these really did change the course of my life. And starting with celery juice. And it's so simple because all you do is take a full stalk of celery, all the ribs of the celery, you rinse them really thoroughly, and then you put them through your juicer, and you get, typically one stalk is going to get you around 16 to 24 ounces of pure celery juice. I love celery juice because it's just one ingredient, super simple, and celery juice is really healing for the body. But specifically what I used it for, and the reason why it changed my life, is because at the time when I used it, I had really bad eczema, at least bad for my standards. I never had skin problems, but I did at the time. I had eczema really bad on my ankle, and nothing was working. All the over-the-counter stuff didn't work, so I decided to try celery juice. Within 2 weeks of drinking celery juice, pure celery juice, every morning on an empty stomach, my eczema was significantly better, and by 4 weeks, maybe 5, somewhere around a month, the eczema was completely gone, and it's still gone to this day, well over a year later, maybe 2 years later, I don't know. So it just goes to show that food really is medicine. You know what Hippocrates said, that food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, is absolutely true. Now, the second life-changing juice that I drink quite often, almost every day, is beet juice. Now, this one's a little more complex. There's a lot more ingredients to it. So what I use is 2 small beets, 2 ribs of celery, a large carrot, an apple, and the juice of 1 lemon. So there's a bit more ingredients in that recipe, but it's super delicious, such a delicious recipe. And the reason why beet juice changed my life is because at the time in my mid-20s when I discovered it, I was having some blood circulation issues and my blood pressure was elevated. And I found that beet juice really, really helps. It helps your circulation because beets have nitrates that help your arteries produce nitric oxide, and that gas carries the blood through your blood vessels. So when you drink beet juice, literally within 1 to 2 hours, you're going to feel the difference. You're going to get more vascularity in your arms. You're going to feel the blood reaching your hands better, your fingertips. If you have any circulation problems, you'll feel cold hands. And what's cool is that it helps your endurance for working out. So if you're doing any kind of, well, whether you're doing resistance training or cardio, it doesn't really matter. The beets are going to help you in your workouts. Now, another thing worth mentioning is that I'm usually too busy to take out the juicer every day. So on the days when I'm too busy, I actually use a powderized beets supplement. Right? It's called Nitric Oxide Beets by Snap Supplements. And it's got powderized beets and spinach extract in there, both of which have nitrates that help produce the nitric oxide and improve your circulation. And I noticed the same benefits from using the supplement in comparison to the juice. Now, I'm going to be honest, the juice is obviously better because you have all kinds of different foods in there and a lot more vitamins and minerals and goodness. But when you're in a hurry, if you don't have the time to make juice or you just don't have a juicer, then the supplement is excellent as well. So if you're interested in checking that out, I personally like the cherry lime flavor, by the way. That's my favorite, but they have multiple flavors of the beets. I'll put a link in the description box down below if you want to check it out. And I have a discount code that can get you 25% off. Okay, and the third juice that changed my life is my green juice. Now, this one's a little more involved, so I'm going to talk you through the ingredients and tell you that it helps your liver. It's especially good for your liver. All right? It starts with half a pound of organic spinach. Make sure it's organic because spinach is heavily sprayed, so I always make sure to get organic. And spinach has mineral salts in there that help your liver perform all its many functions. Then the next ingredient is a couple ribs of celery. Celery has these cluster salts in there that help protect your liver. And then I add 2 cucumbers and an apple, both of which are very my liver checked out. It's good. The doctor's very happy. So I really think it's all the nutrition, it's my overall lifestyle, but especially a juices like this green juice. All right, everybody, so those are the 3 life-changing juice recipes. I hope you try them out. I hope you enjoy them. Of course, you can eat all of these foods, all the ingredients I mentioned. If you eat them as whole foods, that's just as good or even better because you're getting the fiber. But it's just so much fun to juice and try different recipes. And juice is delicious. I just love drinking it, and it's so invigorating. It gives you can feel the life coming into you and regenerating as you drink it. It's amazing. So always make sure though it's fresh juice. Don't just juice and then put it in the fridge and drink it hours later. That's no good because the oxidation is going to kill the enzymes. It's going to kill all the liveness to the food or the juice. So make sure if you juice that you drink it right away, within about 20 to 30 minutes after you juice. All right, everybody, make sure to hit subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want to learn more from me. And I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you then.
Kids can't be kids when their clothes don't fit right. The same goes for their nighttime underwear. Good Nights has large and extra large sizes to comfortably fit kids up to 140 pounds. Wake up dry with the #1 nighttime underwear.
Leonardo da Vinci was a great inventor. Paperwork got in the way. If he used the smart buying tools on Amazon Business, he could have worked more efficiently. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.
This video is sponsored by our 30-day diet and habit change program, 1K30. Go to 1K30.com to learn more.
That's so yummy. It's like very bright is the word I would use to describe it. Good morning, guys. It is Shalva with Life is No Yoke. I'm going to start with our invigorating carrot juice. One of the things that I want to get out of the way right away is that we are making whole food juices here. So a whole food juice is different than something that goes into a juicer. A juicer is going to make cold pressed juice. A whole food juice is one that is going to keep all of the fiber, and you put all the ingredients in and you blend it up, and then you drink what comes out of it. So you're going to keep all the fiber, you're going to keep all the nutrition, and what I like about it versus juicing out of a traditional juicer is that it's less expensive because I'm using less ingredients, and it's less of a mess. I don't have time to clean up all the pulp and such or think of other uses for the pulp. I'm not living that life right now. So this is whole food juicing. We're using the Vitamix. We have been showing people how to make juices and soups and stuff in their Vitamix for 10 years. This is what we do. You kind of have to think of us like the people that you would see at the state fair that show you. Sticky hands. Okay. To make a whole food juice, you're going to load all the ingredients into the blender and drink what comes out. So because the Vitamix works with friction, it's using a non-sharp blade to kind of break up all the ingredients and make it smooth like you would get at a juice bar or something. You want to add cold ingredients. So I'm adding water, but then later I'm adding ice. So one of the biggest complaints we hear about a juice coming out of a blender is that it wasn't cold. So ice instead of water. So this one I'm using both. So I'm putting a 1.5 cups of water in, and then I'm going to do the harder ingredients on top. So you always want to load liquid first and then harder ingredients on top of that. So I've got baby carrots. I believe there's 2 cups of baby carrots. I think it's a 1.5 cups. And then I'm going to do 3 cups of pineapple, and that includes those cores because I know that the Vitamix can handle that. And you'll notice that I'm not really measuring. The first few times you make a juice, you should measure because you're new to this and you want to make sure that the ratio is right and that it tastes the way you want it to taste. I'm pretty confident in my ability to eyeball this one. So we'll give you the real, obviously, the real measurements in the comments. But I am doing lemon, brighter. I want it to be more, I want it to like pop more. And the second I added ginger, it made that big difference. So if ginger is not an ingredient that you're used to using, give it a try. This is ginger root. You can buy ginger root like this at almost every grocery store now. You can also buy ginger powder if you're more comfortable with that. You can buy like minced ginger in the Asian food section at a lot of grocery stores now. You also can leave the skin on. The Vitamix can process ginger skin, I guess. I just prefer to do it like this. It just gives it a smoother consistency, especially because we're doing a juice and not a smoothie. What's the difference between a juice and a smoothie, Shalva? Tell me. I think it's just the texture. Like a smoothie is more frozen ingredients. You need a straw to drink it, and it's like a mouthfeel of like frozen yumminess. A juice should feel like you're drinking a liquid. So that's what we're going for here. So thumb-sized piece of ginger and like 2.5 cups of ice. And again, doesn't have to be like perfectly measured. Just I've got a full container here. I'm gonna put the Vitamix to work making this one. So we've got water, carrots, pineapple, lemon, ginger, ice on top. And that's it. I'm gonna let it run for probably a minute because I wanna make sure that it is processed all the way through. So I'm going to turn my Vitamix on and slowly ramp it up to high speed. You always want to run your blender on high because that kicks in the cooling system. You probably can't hear me, but I'll clean up while we're doing this. So then I'm going to run it on low for a second, and that just helps me get the bubbles out at the top. So a few seconds on low to get some of the bubbles out. And now I've got a bright, invigorating carrot juice. That smells so good. That smells like a beach bar. Like if you were like laying by the pool, this is something that they would serve you. So we've got packed ingredients in here, or packed nutrition in here, and you see how smooth it is when I pour it? Super smooth. So I could turn that into a smoothie pretty quickly by just using all frozen ingredients, or ice instead of water, but this is truly a juice. If you're one of those like, it has to go through a juicer to make sure that it's technically a juice, you can feel free to leave that in the comments because I know that you will. Our family likes to make whole food juices in the Vitamix. That is just the right. I think it's just the texture. And I like created this recipe for this juice. I didn't use ginger, and I was like, ugh, something is missing. I want it to feel like brighter. I want it to be more. I want it to like pop more. And the second I added ginger, it made that big difference. So if ginger is not an ingredient that you're used to using, give it a try. This is ginger root. You can buy ginger root like this at almost every grocery store now. You can also buy ginger powder if you're more comfortable with that. You can buy like minced ginger in the Asian food section at a lot of grocery stores now. You also can leave the skin on. The Vitamix can it is processed all the way through. So I'm going to turn my Vitamix on and slowly ramp it up to high speed. You always want to run your blender on high because that kicks in the cooling system. Probably can't hear me, but I'll clean up while we wait. So then I'm going to run it on low for a second, and that just helps me get the bubbles out at the top. So a few seconds on low to get some of the bubbles out. And now I've got a bright, carrot juice that smells so good. That smells like a beach bar. Like if you were like laying by the pool, this is something that they would serve you. So we've got packed ingredients in here, or packed nutrition in here, and you see how smooth it is when I pour it? Super smooth. So I could turn that into a smoothie pretty quickly by just using all frozen ingredients, or ice instead of water, but this is truly a juice. If you're one of those, like, you have to go through a juicer to make sure that it's technically a juice, you can feel free to leave that in the comments, because I know that you will. Our family likes to make whole food juices in the Vitamix. That is just the right choice for us. We like keeping all that fiber. We don't like having a sugar spike, and we don't have time to clean a juicer, and this cleans itself. So that is why we go for whole food juices in our house. I'm going to taste it, even though people that taste their recipes on camera always make me laugh, because they're like, yum. But I know it smells delicious, so. That is so, so yummy. It's like very bright is the word I would use to describe it. Like I said, it tastes like being by the pool or something, and it is disgustingly dreary out today. So this is brightening my day. It's very, it's not like, oh, I'm drinking carrots. It's like, oh, this is a fresh, delicious, healthy, but tasty drink, and it's really good. Yeah. All right, I'm going to clean this one up so that we can make another one. The next one we're going to make is a celery juice.
You'd be surprised how good carrots.
One of the most effective liver.
Bland. Somehow carrots just get mixed in there. No, you never taste carrots. You have no flavor somehow when you mix it.
Leaves are falling, and so are the prices, with 40%
so
off
weird.
fall decor from Hobby Lobby.
I threw in a bunch of carrots and I beat you everywhere. I threw carrots in. I never taste carrot.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Minus the Gym. I'm Ryan, and in this video, I'm going to show you 3 juice recipes that literally changed my life. And I know that sounds like I'm exaggerating or overstating it, but I swear, these really did change the course of my life. And starting with celery juice. And it's so simple because all you do is take a full stalk of celery, all the ribs of the celery, you rinse them really thoroughly, and then you put them through your juicer, and you get one stalk is going to be really healing for the body, but specifically what I used it for, and the reason why it changed my life, is because at the time when I used it, I had really bad eczema, at least bad for my standards. I never have skin problems, but I did at the time. I had eczema really bad on my ankle, and nothing was working. All the over-the-counter stuff didn't work. So I decided to try celery juice. Within 2 weeks of drinking celery juice, pure celery juice, every morning on an empty stomach, my eczema was significantly better. And by 4 weeks, maybe 5, somewhere around a month, the eczema was completely gone. And it's still gone to this day, well over a year later, maybe 2 years later. I don't know. So it just goes to show that food really is medicine. You know, what Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, is absolutely true. Now, the second life-changing juice that I drink quite often, almost every day, is beet juice. Now, this one's a little more complex. There's a lot more ingredients to it. So what I use is 2 small beets, 2 ribs of celery, a large carrot, an apple, and the juice of 1 lemon. So there's a bit more ingredients in that recipe, but it's super delicious, such a delicious recipe. And the reason why beet juice changed my life is because at the time in my mid-20s when I discovered it, I was having some blood circulation issues and my blood pressure was elevated. And I found that beet juice really, really helps. It helps your circulation because beets have nitrates that help your arteries produce nitric oxide, and that gas carries the blood through your blood vessels. So when you drink beet juice, literally within 1 to 2 hours, you're going to feel a difference. You're going to get more vascularity in your arms. You're going to feel the blood reaching your hands better, your fingertips. If you have any circulation problems, you'll feel cold hands. And what's cool is that it helps your endurance for working out. So if you're doing any kind of, well, whether you're doing resistance training or cardio, it doesn't really matter. The beets are going to help you in your workouts. Now, another thing worth mentioning is that I'm usually too busy to take out the juicer every day. So on the days when I'm too busy, I actually use a powderized beet supplement. Right? It's called Nitric Oxide Beets by Snap Supplements. And it's got powderized beets and spinach extract in there, both of which have nitrates that help produce the nitric oxide and improve your circulation. And I've noticed the same benefits from using the supplement in comparison to the juice. Now, I'm going to be honest, the juice is obviously better because you have all kinds of different foods in there and a lot more vitamins and minerals and goodness. But when you're in a hurry, if you don't have the time to make juice or you just don't have a juicer, then the supplement is excellent as well. So if you're interested in checking that out, I personally like their cherry lime flavor, by the way. That's my favorite, but they have multiple flavors of the beets. I'll put a link in the description box down below if you want to check it out, and I have a discount code that can get you 25% off. Okay, and the third juice that changed my life is my green juice. Now this one's a little more involved, so I'm going to talk you through the ingredients and tell you that it helps your liver. It's especially good for your liver, all right? It starts with half a pound of organic spinach. Make sure it's organic because spinach is heavily sprayed, so I always make sure to get organic. And spinach has mineral salts in there that help your liver perform all its many functions. Then the next ingredient is a couple ribs of celery. Celery has these cluster salts in there that help protect your liver. And then I add 2 cucumbers and an apple, both of which are very hydrating for the liver. And lastly, a lemon, the juice of a lemon. And lemon is just all around good for you because it's very alkalinizing, but also the lemon helps your liver by, it aids in the production of bile, which is one of the functions that your liver has. This green juice is quite a bit darker than the celery juice. It tastes a lot different, a lot better in my opinion. And like I said, it's very, very good for your liver. So if you're like me and you spent the majority of your 20s partying, which I'm guilty of, right? I did a lot of, I hate to say it, a lot of drugs and alcohol in my 20s, and that was kind of how I spent all my free time. And if you did that, if you had that kind of lifestyle, then, your liver might not be in good shape. I'm not sure how mine was, but I can tell you now that I've had blood tests recently, and they said my liver checked out. It's good. The doctor's very happy. So I really think it's all the nutrition, it's my overall lifestyle, but especially a juice like this green juice. All right, everybody, so those are the life-changing juice recipes. I hope you try them out. I hope you enjoy them. Of course, you can eat all of these foods, all the ingredients I mentioned, you can eat them as whole foods. That's just as good or even better because you're getting the fiber. But it's just so much fun to juice and try different recipes, and juice is delicious. I just love drinking it, and it's so invigorating. It gives you can feel the life coming into you and regenerating as you drink it. It's amazing. So always make sure, though, it's fresh juice. Don't just juice and then put it in the fridge and drink it hours later. That's no good. It's going to kill the enzymes. It's going to kill all the liveness to the food, or the juice. So make sure if you juice that you drink it right away, within about 20 to 30 minutes after you juice. All right, everybody, make sure to hit subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want to learn more from me. And I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you then.
Childhood shouldn't be spoiled by bedwetting. Good Nights offers better leak protection versus leading training pants. So cute is way up awesome. For up to 100%
Is your business drowning in paperwork? The smart buying tools on Amazon Business help you work more efficiently, so you can focus on what you do best. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.
Healthy but tasty drink, and it's really good. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna clean this one up so that we can make another one. The next one we're gonna make is a celery juice. I love celery, but I don't want that to be the only flavor. So we are making what we call our lower back pain relief juice. It's filled with ingredients that are anti-inflammatory, meaning they help some of the inflammation in your body, which is basically everything that makes you annoyed about your body, that hurts about your body. You can almost always boil it down to inflammation, and so anti-inflammatories are like the best thing for you. So this is another really easy recipe. We're using coconut water, but you can use regular water. We're using spinach, but you can use any green.
Fuck,
You can use kale, you can use collard greens, you can use dandelion greens, you could use romaine lettuce if you're new to juicing. And these flavors, romaine might be a good place to start. Spinach is a good place to start. We're using the rest of that pineapple, and we're using celery because it's celery juice, and then lemon and ginger. So the goal here is that it tastes. Okay, so I took most of it off, but I'm gonna leave some with details about what our lower back pain relief juice. We have a whole video about this. My brother visited me every week, and every week he said that there was